Hey everyone, it's Bailey Elizabeth here. I'm really excited to be bringing you the first episode of my monthly to bi-monthly interview series titled A Conversation With, where I'll be speaking with artists of all kinds and organizations who have found themselves at this intersection of art and life. My first guest is someone who's so special and important to me, and someone who I wouldn't have wanted to kick off this interview series without. He is a 20-year music business veteran, touring as both a solo artist and with his band The Sixers. He's played over 2,000 concerts, recorded 17 albums, written hits with Robert Randolph and OAR, and shared the stage with Jason Isbell, Counting Crows, Train, Sarah Bareilles, OAR, Matt Nathanson, and Andrew McMahon, to name a few. He's also an author, a speaker, and maybe most important, a family man. It is my pleasure to bring you my friend and the man that Rolling Stone referred to as John Prine fronting the Heartbreakers, one of the best lyricists of his generation, Stephen Kellogg.
There's nothing that nobody tells you. You'll figure it out if you can. There's the things that you never get over that build the character of a man. And if heaven and family and children, what's left of me when I die? Then I hope for your sakes you're all better than me. I'm just learning to
We
say
had
goodbye.
no idea just how long it would be. But you never know when the last time you're gonna see a friend is. Let the people you love know you love them. Know that if you're keeping score, this guy here believes we will all be together again.
I keep my legs short. No one gets married, no one gets divorced. Can you imagine what if the world could stand still for even a day? If there was no crime, no rape, no killing, no dishes suspended, no coming on trailing.
Gravity, you're knocking me out. You're shaking me up till I twist and I shout. Gravity, you're breaking me down till I twist and I shout. Yeah. We look back through the looking glass, visions closer than they appear. There's so many things to be grateful for, all these objects in the mirror, yeah. And you gotta give those children roots and wings, never fear the change it brings, because there is no reason to be so sad. Be thankful for the time you had. Generation, roots and wings, remember to vote.
All right, we're back.
We're back. We did it.
You're a lyrics guy. I'm a lyrics girl. I'm a total lyrics junkie. So we definitely have to talk lyrics. And so one of the questions I had was, in terms of songwriting, are you a lyrics first or melody first person?
I've always been lyrics first, but I think there's benefit to melody first stuff, and I'm trying to kind of entertain a little bit more of that just to push myself as a songwriter, but I am 96% of the time lyrics first.
Yeah. And when you listen to music as a music fan, I know a lot of people, same type of thing when they listen to music. Some people respond to the melody first, some people respond to the lyrics first. Are you also a lyrics first when you're listening to music?
It's all I care about. I can fall in love with the cheesiest song you've ever heard if I think the lyrics are great,
Yeah.
and I can listen to brilliantly, melodic stuff
Yeah.
Prince or Wilco or whatever. But if I'm not feeling the lyrics, I
Yep.
just don't care. I can't care.
I am 100% the same way. If I don't feel something with the lyrics, to me music is so so much about what the person's saying and the stories, just the lyrics are so, I feel like they're front and center. I feel like the instrumental enhances the lyrics as opposed to, the lyrics going, I feel like more than them being a pair, I kind of feel like the instrumental is there to, push those lyrics forward.
Well, what's interesting though, my daughter watched the Tame Impala live stream last night, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all about the music with that. I don't know if you're familiar with that artist, but um, her and her friends are all responding so much to the music, and I thought it was interesting because we really do all receive this stuff in such different ways,
Yeah.
and I always kind of, I don't know, I always wondered, like, we would sort of debate this stuff over the years within the
Yeah.
band, and I realize now it's just like we're all just into music for whatever reason it is, and
Right.
you and I happen to be exactly on the same page.
Yeah.
But other people, um, I meet people all the time, and I feel like I look at them like they're aliens who are like, "Oh yeah, I don't really pay attention to the lyrics. I
Me
just like
too.
the beat and the melody." And I'm like, "What? What are you
Yep.
nuts?"
Yep.
No.
Absolutely. If you can't emotionally connect or, understand or even just find the beauty in certain words or sayings, I feel like what's the point?
I don't understand it either, but this falls under the list of areas where people are allowed to have their own. You're like, okay,
Absolutely.
that's your opinion about that. I
Yeah.
can accept
I
that.
disagree, but
Yeah,
exactly.
totally.
That's an opinion where you can agree to disagree, and it's not, see
And
you,
it's
you're
not
out
like
the door.
catastrophic, and yeah.
Along the lyrics line, I think, to me, one of the things about your music and your lyrics that's so amazing is that, your songs, a lot of times you say they're very wordy, they're very lyrics dense.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I think a lot of times what you say, you're able to say it, very simply. There's no, overdone metaphors or, I don't find them wordy. I feel like they're rich in lyrics. I wouldn't say wordy, and I feel like you really can say things simply but so beautifully. Like you have this knack of saying things in a simple way that is also absolutely gorgeous. And I know for me, one of the lyrics that really comes to mind for me with that is from High Highs, Low Lows. This lyric I really feel kind of hits home on that, and it's but for every song I wrote, through every single note, I knew I was writing songs just to give myself some hope. And, it gets your message across, and it is just so gorgeous. And I'm wondering, are there any, one-liners or certain sets of lyrics that you really maybe you're the most proud of, or are your favorite, or that, you think, damn, that's like the money lyric. Like I'm always like, I got the money shot for photo, do you have any, money lyrics? Like,
Oh yeah, Jessica makes fun of me all the time because I have lots of them. I mean, um, now that I'm on the spot, there's a, I mean, I probably first felt that way when I wrote "It's Only That I Miss You," and I was like writing about my grandfather, and I will not forget who bought me my guitars.
Yeah.
When people change your life, you remember who they are.
That's one of my favorite lines. Love that one.
Yeah, and that was the maybe one of the first times I hit a lyric that I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty good,
Yeah. Yeah, when you think to yourself, damn, I got a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I think in Thanksgiving every time I say it takes minutes to make us a baby and years to remember what that was about. Like, I mean, I mean, when you've hit a lyric that is like going to feel
Yeah.
good to sing for a long time. And
Hmm.
with at the risk of sounding immodest, I'm grateful to have a good amount of those
Yeah.
moments when I sing what I sing.
Yeah.
Like I know that I believe what I have said with every fiber of my being and
Yeah.
said it as succinctly as I know how. I'm not saying every song, but I that's one of the only things that gives me confidence because I don't I don't feel like a great singer. I don't feel like a great player. I feel like I'm a good storyteller, but I mean, I don't get up in the world the way John Mayer seems to get up in the world with
Hmm.
like, God damn, I'm talented as fuck. Here I go. Like, you're just like, and I'm not taking anything away from John Mayer. I love his music and I think
Yeah.
he's great, but I don't relate to Tiger Woods or Tom Brady
Yeah.
or anybody who wakes up and attacks the
Yeah.
world like, hell yeah, here I come.
Yeah.
Like that's not how I operate. So the little moments that I feel that way that give me the audacity to be a touring musician are because of the little lyrical couplets like this
Yeah.
where I'm like, that's pretty fucking good, you
Yeah.
know?
I it's fun, you said you have a good amount of them, and I absolutely agree with that. I was trying when I sat down, I was like, I want to pick a couple to point out, and I just started making a list, writing out lyrics, and I was like, oh gosh, I can't name all of these. Like, how do I pick one? And
Well,
that one was one that really stood out for me, and I think that from Mayday, the "You will find me in the aisle of the truck stop where the toys are all half price."
hmm,
To me, that is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
thank you.
And a more kind of complicated one or not is simple for me is the Thanksgiving. I blow I blow through the years like a mother defending its own, and I feel like I'm driving on spare tires. Seems like I'll never get home, like I'll never get back, like I'm getting threadbare. And I think, you know, that paints a picture. And you have both. You're capable of writing gorgeous lyrics that send a message, also ones that paint a picture.
Yeah.
And I think just that a spare tire and pairing that with threadbare, it really gets that picture in there. And um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just yeah, and it really brings the stories to life, which also intersects with art and life, because you're able to really bring the stories to life and really bring your truth to life. And yeah, you're an incredibly gifted lyricist, and I think you
Thank you, Valley.
definitely have a knack for bringing things to life in various ways in songwriting. And I feel that you don't ever have any wasted lyrics. Like, there are some artists that you think that didn't need to be in there.
Yeah.
That's a verse too many or something. And I've never felt that with any of your songs. So um,
Cool. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I do.
I think we can swerve into another area that also um, connects with art, how your life and your art intersect. Your songs are super vulnerable. You wear your heart on your sleeve, you open up. You're not someone who, writes story songs. You tell your truth in your story. And I think that's the most powerful type of music you can create, is when you're telling your story. You're sharing so much with people. And over the years, has that gotten to be easier for you, or not necessarily easier, but is it has it been hard to be vulnerable and really put yourself out there like that and share so much with people that a lot of other people might not necessarily write about? Family stuff. I'm thinking Charlie and Annie,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's always just sort of been the way that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And as you see certain more personal songs like do bigger work out in the world,
Yeah.
you see like someone say like, "Oh, you know, uh I I got pregnant as a teenager, so A with Love meant a lot
Yeah.
to me," or something, like the more personal it is, the more you see it do good things, then that it does encourage you to continue to being brave about like sharing the truth
Yeah.
as you see it. I mean, I kind of often wonder if I'm just being too like vulnerable that way. Sometimes I'm just like, Kellogg, man, do something else. But I don't. I mean, I work at it to actually do
Yeah.
the reverse and to
Yeah.
reel it in and
Yeah.
to sometimes do that. But it's not a natural state for me, so I don't think there's any danger of me ever not sort of
Yeah.
but being like, here's my heart, everybody, plop.
Right. If you had to pick, one or two of your songs that you felt when you wrote them, you felt you were at your most vulnerable, which songs would you choose?
Probably, yeah, I would go with like Satisfied Man and
Mm-hmm.
and A with Love.
Yeah.
And maybe Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Those three were the most like, okay, here's something. I'll be interested to hear what happens with these new songs I've been writing, because
Yeah.
some of those I'm also like mining other vulnerable parts that aren't just like relationship based,
Yeah.
but that are like about other, confronting some of the angry feelings that I have, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think that's going to be interesting too. So I'll be curious. I may revise my answer after I make the next record that I haven't made yet. But a lot of the
Yeah.
songs are starting to take shape, and I'm like, there's some kind of new themes in
Yeah.
here that I'll be interested to see how those feel to share.
Well, I think it's interesting that you said Satisfied Man, because I think a lot of people would feel more comfortable. People are so selfish. A lot of people are very selfish these days. They're very self-centered, self-absorbed, and they find it easy to, talk about. Some people find it very easy to put the spotlight on themselves, whereas maybe they wouldn't feel as comfortable sharing, a family member's story or something that affected someone else. But I think, Satisfied Man, that is you really pouring your heart out about, your inner feelings about you and, what you want to accomplish in life. And I think just, I would feel the same way if it were me. Those things that reflect on me personally would be the harder things to write, uncovering my truth as opposed to telling the story of, other people around me.
Yeah, 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 totally. I mean, you know, but and yet I like when I look at your stuff, the it's always so compelling when I read you sharing about your journey. Like I'm addicted to authenticity wherever I see it, and it's always so energizing and
Yes.
compelling to see it. And I think,
Yeah,
so
I absolutely agree with that. In my photography, I always say to people, if they want to do a portrait session, like, I'm not your average portrait photographer. I'm not going to pose you in like unnatural poses. I want to capture you as the person you are. I want to capture your family. Like, I want it to be authentic, exactly the word you said. I'm not photoshopping out something because you don't like it. I'm not,
right.
pictures are what they are. And
Yeah.
I want to show people's truths. And so, that, yeah, I totally get that.
And it's interesting because of what you're talking about with art and life. The reason I play like different shows every night is because I usually start my set list process by waking up and going like,
Mhm.
what songs do I need to sing
Yeah.
today?
Oh, I love that.
So that when, like doing Thanksgiving when you are threadbit, when you are burnt out and feeling like you're just hanging on, and like,
Yeah.
that's a great time to do it because it's very cathartic, doing, start the day early when you're in the mood to kind of just have a toast and celebrate. Like,
Yeah.
it's matching up what's actually going on inside you to the song. So the songs are like, these are my tools, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
And trying to attach to them. And I have sort of, I forego musical accuracy to some degree
Yeah.
in favor of just let me try to, because you can't really keep 150 songs all
Right.
completely straight. So they do get a little,
Yeah.
but you give that up in terms of like when you need to sing a certain song, you know?
I love that. It really makes it more believable when you're really feeling what you're saying. And there are so many, especially a lot of the big tours. They all have the same set list every night, or they have maybe 2 or 3 set lists that they rotate between. And if you're not, I totally respect what you're saying, and I love that, because if you're not feeling what you're saying, or maybe you're even feeling the total opposite of what you're saying, it's not as true.
I don't like that feeling. You feel like you're an actor at that
Yes,
point, which is no disrespect to actors, but that's not what I do. So
Right.
it's like I don't want to go up and be like, "Wee, it's a party," if I feel
Yeah.
like I'm dying inside, you know?
Yeah. Well, the live stream that was the all lyrics one, that was the all about the lyrics, and you kept saying, sorry, this is such a downer, and I thought this is the best one he's done. Like,
I know.
I always just go right for the sad ones, or the really heavy ones. Maybe it's not sad, but it's deep and heavy. I even have a playlist on my iPod that's SK ballads.
I love it. That's the stuff I love to play.
Yeah.
90% of the time. And for whatever reason, I guess because I'm ultimately an optimistic person, and and I do have a sense of humor, so I think people like have kind of, they associate me with like this kind of up positive thing. But honestly, like anytime I get permission to just sing the heavier stuff, like that is where I enjoy that exponentially more. But I often am just like, the people pleaser in me doesn't feel like that's okay to do. So, I don't know. One of my favorite shows of all time was in Milwaukee, and I didn't have time to plan a set, and I did an all request set, and I let everybody write on a piece of paper what they wanted to hear, and I picked them out of a hat. And I did that, and I was and all the songs that particular audience was pulling for were Cradle of Family, 4th Street Moon, Orion, and that was one of, if not my favorite shows of all time, because it's like I had permission to sing what I really love to sing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, you crave authenticity, and so that that goes right with that. I want to talk about heroes, and there's a line from your book that I really wanted to kind of start this with, and it's in the heroes chapter, and it's through their aspiration we are taught to shoot for the stars. These people show us who we want to be. And I love that. I just think it is so, that just speaks heroes to me. And in the book you talk about, you don't need to be, basically, people put people on pedestals and they think they're absolutely perfect and that kind of thing, and kind of larger than life, and I agree with you. You don't have to be this, larger than life character, or, pretending everything's perfect. And though you can have someone who's a hero who isn't that, who shows multiple sides of themselves, who has their, warts and quirks and that kind of thing. And, I'm sitting here doing this interview with you, having this conversation with one of my absolute heroes, who I am just don't understand how I got to a point where I could call a friend, a friend. And I just, it totally blows my mind. So there are 2 parts of this that I think I wanted to get from you. So, I know for me, as I said, it blows my mind. I'm just like, how did I even get here? And I know you have a similar type of thing with Adam Duritz and Counting Crows. How unreal was being on stage singing with him? With one of your heroes.
It was awesome. That was really fun, and to have it sort of manifest at the age of 44.
Yeah.
Was like, it was exciting. I definitely didn't sleep. I I wasn't nervous the night before. I
Mhm.
just couldn't sleep.
Yeah,
I did not sleep nary a wink the night before
yeah.
that show.
Nervous energy.
But it wasn't
Very
nerves. It was
excited.
like it was just excite. I was
Yeah,
amped, and I was like, and it was the realization of, when you're sort of watching a dream that you've had and
yeah,
harbored and dared to, continue harboring
yeah.
true, and it's exciting to know that that can still happen. It's not,
Absolutely.
we attach so many of our dreams to the youth, and I don't know that
Yeah.
that's always the case.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of people don't think that a dream, once it gets past a certain age or a certain point in your life, your dreams can't come true, and I think that's an important thing that I wish more people knew, was that it is possible.
Yeah.
There's this post that goes around Facebook all the time that says, um, this post goes around Facebook that I've seen many times. It's like, has different famous people and at what age they did accomplish their first thing, and are successful people. And I always share it, even if I've already shared it before, because I think it's so important for people to know that it's not too late. Like, keep going, it's not too late.
100%. 100%. And I would even add to that the pursuit of the dream, I know it's a cliche, but it really is also, like, you realize how much is in pursuing it. I mean, like, when I first met Adam and we became friendly, it wasn't like, damn, I got to make this happen and we got to end up on stage. And I really
Right.
kind of, it was like the actual process of spending a few years getting to know
Yeah.
someone, and
Very organic.
you wouldn't trade any of, if someone said, well, you could just do the show with Adam, or you could have the 4 years of friendship that led up to it, I would take the friendship,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
even though that was a neat thing that that the teenage me was like, oh my God, this is happening.
Yeah.
It also felt extremely natural by the time it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's how I feel about our connection. It's like
Sure.
it just kind of organically happened, and that's
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing when connections just organically happen like that. And I think, yes, it's always a special thing, and there aren't many times in your life where where a super meaningful person comes into your life, and it just is perfect. Like, it's they beat your expectations, and you get way more out of something that you emotionally than you ever would have expected to.
Well, I love that, and I love that day that we spent a couple years ago.
Yes.
We did that photo shoot we did, and
Yeah, I
walking
love
around.
that. So fun. And
Was
then to finish up, we cannot have this conversation without talking about Tom Petty for a few minutes. So you look, huge Tom Petty fan. You are, and I don't know if you know this, but Tom Petty is the reason why I fell in love with music at 4 or 5 years old. I had Tom Petty calendar on my wall, no joke. And I had this VHS tape that was a little documentary that had some music videos on it, had Don't Come Around Here No More on it. And, and I just watched it over and over again. I'm 4 years old, and I'm, crushing on Tom Petty, just thinking he was the coolest thing ever. And I guess I just am wondering, what was it about him, that his music and him as a person, that really influenced you? Because I know you say he's had like a big impact on you as an artist.
Yeah, I think with Petty's music, I mean, first of all, his lyrical economy is unrivaled. I think he says more with fewer words than anybody in rock and roll. I think there are poets who can do it, but Petty is tops in that, which is something I just admire but don't necessarily relate to. I just admire it. And, but I think what so many of us love about Petty too was there's a lot of integrity there, and
Yeah.
it's just the way he conducted himself musically and the
Yeah.
message of his music. It's just from the beginning, I love that song. I Don't Scare Easy, that Mudcrutch song that came
Mm,
out that they released a few,
yeah.
you can break my heart, but I ain't gonna run. I don't
Yeah.
scare easy. Like you feel that with Petty. So that's my point of inspiration.
Yeah.
I see a guy who is sort of the apex of cool, I think, and then
Uh-huh. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel so lucky that I got to see his last tour. It was the first time I ever got to see him. Unfortunately, the last. But, I know for me, just sitting there, Learning to Fly was always a song for me that really hit me. And, Don't Come Around Here No More, when I was a little kid, really, it just drew me right in.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, American Girl really hit me hard. And I think it's interesting how different, that's the same artist, yet as I grew, it was different songs that were the ones that impacted me the most. And have you ever felt that with any artist, or any person, as you've grown and matured as a person, has one thing turned into impacting you in a different way than it did earlier in your life?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't have anything right off the top of my head, but
Mm,
but for sure, I think, um, and sometimes you grow and you go back to something and you see that it was right for that moment, but it doesn't like hold up in the same way. Like it doesn't mean something to me
yeah,
anymore, whether it's a piece of art or a
yeah,
book. And then occasionally you go back to something and find it can still elicit, for me, Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction was like an album that meant a lot to me when I was younger. There was like a rebellion that all the lyrical snippets, like, why don't you just fuck off? And it's
yeah,
that I was like, yeah,
yeah,
God
yeah,
damn it, I feel that. And then when I go back now and I listen to the words to Sweet Child of Mine, which
mm,
wasn't a song that spoke to me initially,
right,
but it's an incredibly vulnerable and beautiful
mm,
lyric, that song. And so suddenly, like listening to that
yeah,
as a middle-aged guy, I'm like, oh man, this is one
yeah,
of the greatest songs ever written. Like, so I mean, I don't know. It's interesting that Guns N' Roses should be the album that comes to mind, but that where my experience with the music still
yeah,
holds up, but has dramatically changed,
yeah.
over the years.
We can wrap up with that. I was really hoping my cat would scratch on the door so I could introduce you to my cat, but she didn't scratch on the door. I know you're a fellow cat person.
They're
Uh,
the best. Love up that kitty for me. Give your
yes,
mom my best, and thanks for the chat. It's
I will.
always a pleasure, buddy.
I will. And I'm going to tilt the camera up a little bit and show you something super cool on my gallery wall back here. So I have this gallery wall back here,
Oh,
and I
nice.
just wanted you to see that you are here
I see a lot of cool ones.
and you are there.
Nice.
So there you
Nice.
are. There you are, right in between
I
Petty
love it.
and Bruce, and we got Billy Joel, Andrew, Need to Breathe's up here. So I'm
Honored
going to show you
company.
that.
Honored company, Bailey. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. It's a cool looking wall, and it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah.
We'll talk
And
again.
I'll send you a picture of the other side of the wall, because the whole concept of the wall came from guitar and tambourine.
Yeah.
I have a tambourine on this side of the wall, and I have a guitar with the loadout written all over it that I did for an art installation on the other side of the wall. So
Holy shit, that is so cool. I
art,
love it.
music can even impact interior design. So there you go.
I love it so much. So
All
much.
right. Thank you
Bailey,
so much.
Let us know when it's all coming out so we can point people to it.
Absolutely. Thank you again. This was great.
All right. Bye-bye.